Out tonight show how much the Minneapolis Police Department spent in overtime during Operation Metro Surge. The police, which had 617 sworn officers during the federal immigration enforcement, say during the busiest stretch they spent more than $6 million. Lou Ragoose joins us live from Minneapolis to break down those new estimates. Lou?
Julie, at the request of the City Council, Minneapolis Police broke down the costs of extra staffing, which included overtime, traditional overtime, and on-call, or what they called standby pay, which consists of the officer being on call ready to serve within an hour's notice. With Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara facing scrutiny for MPD going over budget by $17.6 million last year, the Minneapolis City Council requested clarity on the costs regarding the increased staffing during the federal immigration action in Minnesota known as Operation Metro Surge.
Metro Surge was an emergency for the police department and for the city, and one of the most complex and sustained operations the police department has had to endure, and was truly unprecedented.
During the busiest 5-week span, starting the day Renee Good was shot by a federal agent on January 7th through February 8th, MPD spent $6.06 million on overtime and standby pay, which essentially means officers on call, ready to report, which some council members criticized.
That's astronomical. That's insane. I can't think of a better word other than insane to describe just the standby pay received. Just to be ready to work, you receive $20,000 over the course of 1 month.
While other council members complimented MPD.
I just want to thank every officer who spent extra time keeping our residents safe, responding to the threats of federal government, and handling yourself in the most professional way.
MPD also reported the extra staffing in the weeks leading up to the Renee Good shooting and the weeks after, topping $10 million in OT and standby pay from late November through the end of March. Despite that, O'Hara estimates they'll have fewer overtime hours this year than last.
We're going to have about 1/3 less overtime hours this year. 1/3 less, even considering that Metro Surge happened.
And Chief O'Hara last week talked about some of those strategies to reduce overtime pay. For example, in their summer safety program, officers will be required to work a weekend night and take that time out of their regular scheduled shift rather than taking overtime for that night shift. Still, despite that, and even if they do accomplish bringing the overtime down, there are other budget problems that remain. We'll be talking about that over the coming weeks and months.
All right, Lou, thank you.